Hey guys, Steinixos here. So today we'll be speaking about the Riki no Mi Devil Fruit. Specifically, we'll be talking about what a fully mastered and unrestricted Riki no Mi Devil Fruit could look like. Now, as you all probably already know, the Riki no Mi is the strong, or more specifically, the strength paramecia type Devil Fruit. And thus what this means is that upon consumption of this devil fruit, the user becomes a strength human who is able to access superhuman strength. Now, if you've already watched some of my previous videos in the Devil Fruit Unrestricted series, then I know what you're thinking. At an unrestricted level, we could easily go into more conceptual usage of the strength devil fruit, like the ability to absorb physical strength from an opponent as demonstrated by Morongo Mu, who can steal the strength from some of the strongest beings such as the Hulk and make it his own, or even taken to the extreme with characters like Rogue who are literally able to take the strength, or more specifically, the powers of an opponent for herself. However, even though that is one possible pathway for the unrestricted abilities of the strength devil fruit, we won't be going down that route in this video. Because honestly, when musing about the unrestricted boundaries of strength, I think it is just way more fun to strip away all of the complexities and just speak about clearly defined feats of raw physicality, akin to if we were just in the gym and the gym bro is asking the age-old question, do you even lift? So let's go through this video in the classic gym fashion, making sure we hit all the major muscle groups along the way and answer that very question. Now, let's start with one of the staple movements, that is, the pressing or pushing motion. So we saw where, upon getting the strength devil fruit, Burgess was able to casually lift and throw a mountain. Now, that is pretty cool, but what would have probably enhanced it would be if there was some clear in-world element that told us a scale for the size of this mountain. For example, we saw where the Hulk similarly also held up a mountain, but what made this feat really impressive is the fact that in the story, this mountain was said to be bigger than the Andes mountain range. So this is a clear scale of reference given to us that really helps to highlight how impressive this Hulk mountain lifting feat actually was. And as a matter of fact, the comic goes even further in illustrating just how impressive this feat is by telling us the weight of the mountain range that Hulk was holding. It was a whopping 150 billion tons. So again, this is a phenomenal example of how to actually illustrate this type of strength feat well. However, we're speaking about unrestricted strength, so even a mountain is pretty light in the grand scheme of things. I mean, for example, Mount Everest is the tallest mountain on Earth, and it is estimated to be 357 trillion pounds, or roughly 162 billion metric tons, which is just about 12 billion metric tons more than the weight of the mountain that Hulk lifted. However, 162 billion is a laughably insignificant number compared to 200 quintillion. And 200 quintillion metric tons is a weight that Superman has been shown to casually lift with just one hand. Like, let that sink in for a bit. With just one hand, Superman has been shown to lift the numerical equivalent of over 2.8 billion Mount Everest. However, again, as impressive as that is, if we're speaking about the limits of unrestricted strength, then you have to be able to lift not only heavily, but also must be able to lift for reps. And again, here comes Superman, who was able to lift the equivalent weight of the planet Earth, and that is 5.972 sextillion metric tons, which, in keeping in terms of our Mount Everest comparison, is over 83 billion Mount Everest. And Superman was able to bench press that for over 5 days straight without breaking a sweat, and was still even asking for more weight. So yeah, this is definitely a feat worthy of unrestricted strength, but I don't know, it still feels lacking. I mean, yeah, a planet is big and all, but when I think of unrestricted strength, I imagine someone lifting something that is just much heavier. Well, then how about Saitama bench pressing 2 black holes? that is much heavier, given that even small black holes can be in the range of 10 to 100 times the mass of the sun. Now yeah, that is hella impressive, but I feel like the upper limits must be something that is almost unimaginably big, and it just so happens that there is one guy. So many of you should be familiar with Atlas from Greek mythology, who was cursed by Zeus to literally hold up the heavens for all eternity. Now, I don't know how big the heavens are, but as you can see, it's pretty big, and lifting that for all eternity, or even for a short while, like Hercules did for Atlas, is obviously pretty impressive. So how much can our fully mastered and unrestricted strength fruit user bench? Well, at least the heavens, and rep it for all eternity. Now, by taking a look at Burgess, evidently, he's been taking some lessons from Tom and skipping leg day. However, our unrestricted and fully mastered strength fruit would definitely ensure its user's legs are not lacking in the strength department. And again, let's start off low with explosive leg strength demonstrated by Saitama, which allowed him to jump from the moon to the earth in a matter of seconds. But it doesn't end there, because at higher levels of strength, our unrestricted strength fruit user, like Worldbreaker Hulk, would be able to shatter a continent in a few steps. Now that is pretty good, but again, you know we are all about those reps. So like Mash from Mashal, another casual feat of leg strength from our unrestricted strength fruit user is the ability to casually push a continent with the explosive power in their legs. So our unrestricted strength fruit user definitely does not have to worry about skipping leg days. But even with all of these typical muscle groups, I think an underlooked component of physical strength is the strength of the pulmonary muscles. After all, nothing says strong as hell more than a guy who, by even just using their breath, can blow out a flaming piece of magma as if it were a birthday candle. I'm looking at you, Whitebeard. So again, let's start off low with the unrestricted strength feat shown to us by Saitama, where he's able to blow away most of Jupiter with just a sneeze. And that's pretty cool, but again, we are talking about the limits of unrestricted strength here, so surely there must be something higher. Well, let's bring back our MVP Superman, who can even blow out a sun with a single breath, as well as destroy a solar system with a sneeze. Like, I think that is definitely worthy of highlighting just how high the limits of unrestricted strength within the pulmonary category goes. But hold on, I see a couple of you in the audience getting a bit antsy, and I know what you're thinking. Stein, there's no way we've come this far in the video, and you have yet to talk about the biceps. Now I hear you, and though we won't be speaking about the biceps specifically, I still have a couple feats that include the whole upper extremity coordination generally. So let's start with the grip strength, which is mainly forearm muscle related. But a dope feat showing you the upper limits of this is Superman being able to hold a black hole in his hand. And then when we include the whole upper limb, you have feats such as the Hulk, who is able to produce a clap that is so powerful that it breaks the universe. Yup, you heard me right, it breaks the universe. So again, the upper limits of unrestricted strength for the upper extremity does go pretty crazy. However, as impressive as all of those feats are in the prior categories, many of you are here because you are battle fiends. So the only question that is on your mind right now is how strong can the punch of our fully mastered and unrestricted fruit user hit? Now, there are already characters in One Piece like Garp, who uses mountains as sandbags, and Luffy with his island-sized Bajrangan. And of course, we have to pay our respects to characters like Yujiro Hanma, who can stop an earthquake with a punch, as well as Toriko, who can casually punch a guy around the entire planet that has a circumference of 220,000 kilometers. That's roughly 5.5 times the circumference of Earth, and he's punching someone around that instantly. Similarly, as well as Boros instantly kicking Saitama from the Earth to the Moon, which is a distance of over 384,000 kilometers. However, All of those feats are pretty impressive, but that's not what you're here for, so let's go higher. Now, at greater heights, we first encounter Shazam, who can punch so hard that he creates a black hole. But it gets even weirder, because as we go higher on the path of unrestricted strength, we meet the Juggernaut from X-Men, who, again, with a punch, can break the very fabric of space-time. And of course, you have Superman right beside him, who goes a bit further and just punches so hard that he goes back in time. Now, you'll be forgiven if you thought we had reached the apex. However, there are other characters like the Hulk, who have similarly punched time itself and traveled back into the past, such as seen when Hulk punched through a time storm. And if you know anything about the Superman family by now, you know they kind of like to win by a mile. So of course, our top feat of unrestricted raw physical strength by a mile is Superboy Prime punching so hard that he retcons the DC universe. You heard me right, he retcons the DC universe with a punch. Now, there probably are many other feats of raw physical strength across fiction that we could talk about, and I even purposely left off some, like Superman just casually flying through space, pulling multiple planets with a chain to a new galaxy, or Darkseid taking the yo mama so fat jokes to the extreme by casting a shadow over the entire multiverse, and as Grant Morrison says, potentially pulling the entire multiverse down with him to hell by his true form just falling. Or even against Superman, who casually broke all the barriers of reality, starting with space and time, and ending with the very bonds of infinity. Like, we could go on for days here, but by now I think you should have a good idea of just how powerful and unrestricted and fully mastered Strength Fruit would be. But anyway, that's the video guys. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. But anyway, see you guys next time.